So unit 3, single phase transformer. Now here transformer, all of you may know that it is used to step up or step down the voltage. What is its application? It is used to step up or step down the voltage. Now transformer, this one, whatever you can see, it's a transformer symbol. So this one is primary winding. On your left side, it has turns, N1 number of turns. These are the N1 number of turns, and this complete one is called as primary winding. The primary winding is the one across which we give input. For transformer, AC is the input and AC is the output. As it is a single phase transformer, means single phase AC power is the input and single phase AC power is the output. Formula for single phase AC power, all of you know, we learn it in second unit, VI cos phi. Okay, so the winding across which we give AC input is called as primary winding of transformer, and the winding across which we get AC output is called as, this one is called as secondary winding. Okay, so primary winding and secondary winding. We apply AC input to primary and we get AC output across secondary. Now, if you observe here, secondary winding also has few turns. The turns on secondary N2, turns on primary N1. These are the symbols used for that. Now, primary and secondary winding, both are made up of copper. As copper resistance is very less, so primary and secondary winding both are made up of copper. In transformer windings made up of copper, any motor, any generator, if you see, then that are its windings also made up of copper. Okay, now here in transformer, this primary and secondary winding which are made up of copper, they are insulated with some insulating material, and the thickness of that insulating material, it depends on how much voltage you are going to apply across that winding. Okay. For example, here you consider primary side voltage you are going to apply 110 volt, and secondary side consider maximum voltage you are getting 220 volt. Means it's a step up or step down transformer.
Step up.
Step up, correct. It's a step up transformer. That's why you can see as on secondary voltage is more, turns also here I have drawn more number of turns compared to primary. N2 greater than N1, step up transformer. In step down transformer, voltage on secondary compared to primary will be less. Same for the turns also, then N2 will be less than N1. Okay, so two types of transformers are there, step up and step down. Based on that supply also, single phase transformer and three phase transformer. Okay, in single phase transformer you can find single winding on primary and single winding on secondary. N1 and N2, these are the turns and winding, different thing. Okay, primary winding has N1 number of turns, secondary winding has N2 number of turns. So whenever I say it's a single phase transformer, means single winding on primary and single winding on secondary. Whenever it's a three phase transformer, three windings are there on primary side and three windings are there on secondary side. In your syllabus, only single phase transformer is included. Okay, so step up, step down transformer. Now this transformer, this primary winding and secondary winding, both are made up of copper. Their copper winding resistance is marked as R1, R2. Okay, turns N1 and 2, copper winding resistance R1, R2, current flowing through this windings is marked as I1, I2. Okay, so these are the symbols used for primary and secondary winding. One suffix means primary side parameters, two suffix means secondary side parameter. Okay, so N1, R1, I1, N2, R2, I2. Turns, then resistance of copper and current flowing through winding. Okay. Now this primary and secondary winding, that about the insulation. See, if this one is used for 110 volt, you are going to across primary, and across secondary you are getting 220 volt. So if you observe, more voltage is there on secondary side. So you will find thickness of insulation. Both the windings are insulated with some insulating material. So which one insulating material to use? What should be its thickness? It depends on the voltage. Okay, based on voltage, they make selection of insulation. So you will find for 220 volt more thickness of insulation. Okay, and for 110 volt compared to that 220, less thickness is there, and both the windings, primary and secondary, both the windings are wound on common magnetic core. See, in symbol, whatever this two straight line, it indicates the magnetic core. Means it is like this actually. See, this is the square or rectangular shaped magnetic core. It is made up of silicon steel. Okay, why silicon steel? That we'll see soon. Whatever the core, magnetic core, it is called this one. It is square or rectangular shape. So it has, see, this one is side limbs. Left side limb, you can say right side limb, isn't it? Right side, left side. So these are called as the two side limbs, vertical. This horizontal one also there. This one. So this magnetic core is made up of silicon steel. Now, whenever they manufacture this core, what is done? Like this, suppose this is the vertical limb. So like this thin plates, suppose this one is vertical. So like this thin plate, again this one for this horizontal of different dimensions required if it is of rectangular shape, isn't it? So this one is horizontal. So like this thin plates of dimensions of thickness, means of thickness 0.3 to 0.5 mm. Like this they manufacture of silicon steel. So that magnetic core is made up of silicon steel. So silicon steel plates like this vertical, horizontal, based on dimensions, they manufacture of thickness 0.3 to 0.5 mm. And on both the sides of these plates, varnish they put. Varnish, it acts as an insulating material. Why insulating material required, that also we'll see soon. So whatever the square or rectangular core, it is not solid. Okay, it is laminated. So like this silicon steel thin plates of thickness 0.3 to 0.5 mm, they manufacture. On both the sides they put varnish as an insulating material, and like this they connect them, and number of plates they stack together. Okay, so thin plates, varnish on both the sides, like this number of plates they stack together, and square or rectangular shape magnetic core they manufacture. Okay, get manufactured. This magnetic core get manufactured. So this magnetic core, it is not solid, it is laminated. Why it requires laminated? To reduce eddy current loss. Why it is made up of silicon steel? To reduce hysteresis loss. What is hysteresis loss? What is eddy current loss? We'll see soon how they get minimized if we are using silicon steel and laminated core. Okay, when we'll go for losses, we'll see in detail about it. So like this laminated silicon core, silicon steel core, rectangular or square shape, and then on it primary and secondary windings are wound. So see here, this one is primary winding is wound on it. AC voltage source, which is marked as V1. On primary side, it is applied as voltage we have applied this side. So you can call, we are going to call this one winding on your left is a primary winding. Then output will get across this winding which is on your right hand side. That's why this winding will call as secondary winding. So like this primary and secondary winding both are wound on common magnetic core. One magnetic core is there, square or rectangular shape, and on the common magnetic core, both the primary and secondary winding are wound. Like this is the construction. So whenever this is the symbol, whenever you draw any electric circuit or electronic circuit, and in it you have to represent the transformer. So this one is the symbol of transformer you can use. Okay, symbol of transformer, primary winding, secondary winding, turns, and two straight line indicates the magnetic core. If it is a step up transformer, show more turns on secondary. If it is a step down transformer, show less turns on secondary. Okay, so this is about the symbol of transformer. Okay, so we'll see its working principle now. So see here, this is the square or rectangular silicon steel core. Now this silicon steel, this magnetic core, magnetic material, why we are using this core of magnetic material? See, resistance, all of you know resistance, we use metals for the flow of current because their conductivity is more, that is their resistance is less. That's why we use metals for the flow of current, like copper and aluminum. These two are used, isn't it? Copper is costly compared to aluminum. Wherever space matters, copper is used. In every motor, generator and transformer, copper is used. But for underground transmission of electricity, cables are used. In cable under the ground, lots of space is there, no space criteria. So there aluminum we use for the flow of current because their conductivity is more, that is their resistance is less. Formula of resistance, all of you know, rho L divided by A. Okay, so this is about the metal and current. Now we are going to see here, this one is a magnetic circuit. Which one? This core. Core is a magnetic circuit, isn't it? Now this magnetic material, it is made up of silicon steel. So this magnetic material, what property they has? Their relativity is very high. Like for metals, their conductivity is very high. Similarly, for this magnetic materials, their relative permeability is very high. So if you see the formula of reluctance, which is equal to L divided by mu 0 mu R A. L divided by mu 0 mu R A. This is the formula of reluctance. Okay. So if you observe for silicon steel, this one is the relative almost same. This L for, there are some similarities in electric and magnetic circuit. So if you see, this is the formula for resistance. What is the resistance? Opposition to the flow of current offered by metals. Similarly here, what is the S? Capital S is reluctance. Okay, in magnetic circuit, capital S is the reluctance. And what is the reluctance? It's the opposition to the flow of flux offered by magnetic material. So magnetic material, silicon steel, its relative permeability is very high. And if mu R is high in denominator, so S will be less. S is less means what? Reluctance is less. Reluctance is less means what? Opposition to the flow of flux will be less. And that's why maximum flux flows through this core. Okay, and that's what that is expected. Here you should use such a material which will carry maximum flux. Okay, so that efficiency of this transformer will be more. Okay, so that's why this silicon steel is made up, this core, magnetic core is made up of silicon steel. Why it is made up of silicon steel? Clear? Because silicon steel, its relative permeability is very high. That's why reluctance, capital S, will be very less. Reluctance is less means opposition to the flow of flux will be less. That's why maximum flux will flow through this magnetic core. Okay. Now here see, this is the silicon steel magnetic core, and on it primary winding is wound, secondary winding is what? Primary is the one across which we give input. So this one is the V1. I told you transformer, it works only on AC. AC single phase AC power is the input. Single phase AC power is the output. It don't work on DC. If you apply DC, what happens? That also we'll see soon. Now I'm going to explain to you working principle. Working principle means what? How it transfers electrical energy from primary to secondary. Okay, how it is going to step up or step down the voltage. Now AC input voltage, this is the symbol for AC voltage source. AC input voltage is marked as V1. So you connect AC input voltage across primary winding. See, now circuit is closed one here. If you observe on primary, circuit is closed one. That's why current will start to flow. As you are applying here AC voltage, AC current will flow through this winding. Now in 12th, you have learned about the that whenever, suppose this is the conductor, through it you pass the current. Whenever you pass current through any conductor, around it, it produces magnetic field. If you are passing DC current, which is having constant magnitude and constant direction, DC current, if you pass through any conductor, around it, it produces stationary magnetic field. Okay. But through this conductor, if you pass AC current, means whose magnitude and direction continuously changes, alternating current. So around this conductor, whatever the magnetic field produced, that will be changing magnetic field, alternating magnetic field. Okay. So through any conductor, if you pass AC current, around it, it produces changing or alternating magnetic field. And how to find out its direction? Right hand thumb rule. Okay, right hand thumb rule, all of you know that arrow conventions are used, that you already have studied in 12th. Suppose you consider this one is a conductor, its cut section. Hold the conductor parallel to ground. So consider that conductor carrying current away from you, cross means away from observer. Arrow conventions means consider arrow is moving away from you. So what you can see, it's tell, and that's why cross is here. So this is the conductor carrying current away from observer, So and toward the observer is what? Dot. Consider arrow is moving toward you. Toward you means what you can see? Consider karo arrow aapke taraf aa raha hai. So what you can see, it's tip. So this one circular one is conductor, and whatever this dot, what it represents? Current direction. Here cross also, what is it representing? Current direction, isn't it? So arrow coming toward you. So dot means its tip you can see, that's why dot here. Arrow moving away from you, so its tail you can see, that's why cross here. Okay, so arrow conventions clear? This one, yes?
Yes, ma'am.
So this is away from observer and toward the observer. What is it? Current direction. So circular one is a conductor, this cross and dot is a current direction. Now you consider that conductor, it is carrying current away from observer. So away from observer means cross. Now around it, it will produce magnetic field, and what will be its direction? So for that you have to use right hand thumb rule. Right hand thumb rule is used for what purpose? For what purpose? So to find out the direction of magnetic field produced around a current carrying conductor. Now what is the right hand thumb rule? Hold the thumb of right hand in the direction of current. So current is away from you. So your right hand thumb, you point away from you and wrap the fingers around the conductor. In which direction you are wrapping the fingers? Clockwise direction. So same will be the direction of magnetic field produced around this conductor. Okay, you can try this. Right hand thumb, you point away from you and wrap the fingers around the conductor. So you will be wrapping the fingers in clockwise direction, and same will be the direction of magnetic field produced around this current carrying conductor. Got it? Right hand thumb rule. Clear, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Same thing you can try for toward the observer. Toward the observer means what? Dot conventions. Okay. Now toward the observer, so thumb of right hand, hold, point toward yourself and wrap the fingers. You will find you are wrapping the fingers in anti-clockwise direction. So round this conductor, whatever the magnetic field get produced, that will be in anti-clockwise direction. Okay. So clear this one to everyone? Any difficulty with this? Okay,
No,
right hand thumb rule. So here what is the case? Conductor is straight and fingers you are wrapping. So thumb along current direction and fingers along magnetic field. But whatever the case here right now, see, if you see, this is the vertical side limb, and on this conductor is wound. This conductor is not straight here. It is wound in one particular direction. So if you observe primary winding turns, in which direction they are wound? Observe, clockwise wound की है या anti-clockwise?
clockwise.
Correct, because above limb it is starting means turns are wound in clockwise direction, primary winding turns N1. So as turns are wound in clockwise direction, whatever the current I1, alternating current I1 flowing through this clockwise turns will also be in a clockwise direction, isn't it? So current
Yes,
is
ma'am.
flowing in clockwise direction. So you wrap the fingers in clockwise direction. So where the thumb points of right hand?
Downwards.
Wrap the fingers in clockwise direction of right hand. So in which direction the thumb is pointing?
Downwards.
Again try. Right hand fingers wrap in clockwise direction. Vertical means horizontal hand नहीं ये करना है, vertical है. Thumb आप either upward point करेगा या downward. Yes.
Downward.
How it can be possible? Wrap the fingers clockwise. So the thumb
Ma'am,
is,
it is anti-clockwise in
which
the
one?
diagram.
Yes, ma'am.
First,
1 minute. No, it's clockwise. See, the another side, if you see na, secondary, suppose I am going to start from this end, A, secondary side, then that one is anti-clockwise. Wait a moment. Primary side winding is wound in a clockwise direction. See, in a current direction you trace. देखो current कैसे flow हो रहा है? Above limb, then below limb, above limb, below limb, above limb. See, in which direction I am plotting the circle? Circle कैसे मैं plot कर रही हूँ? Clockwise plot कर रही हूँ. ये देखो, अभी यहाँ से above limb start होगा current, isn't it? फिर लिम के नीचे से जाएगा, फिर से लिम के ऊपर से, फिर से नीचे से. तो मैं सर्कल कैसे प्लॉट कर रही हूँ? क्लॉकवाइज और एंटी क्लॉकवाइज? क्लॉकवाइज में.
क्लॉकवाइज.
हाँ, सो ये वाइंडिंग जो है ना, ये क्लॉकवाइज है. एंटी क्लॉकवाइज दिखाओ क्या आपको? एक मिनट, मैं यहाँ पे ड्रॉ करके दिखाती हूँ आपको. सेम लिम पे, नॉट कंपेयर विद सेकेंडरी. ये देखो, ये सपोज लिम है. अभी देखो, मैं यहाँ से एंटी क्लॉकवाइज अगर करना है ना, तो स्क्वायर निकालते हैं, ठीक है. लार्जर वन विल डू. एक ही लिम निकालते हैं, ठीक है. अभी देखो, यहाँ से सपोज मैंने करंट स्टार्ट किया, सो एंटी क्लॉकवाइज विल शो यू, ये देखो ऐसा आएगा एंटी क्लॉकवाइज। ये देखो, ये जो प्राइमरी वाइंडिंग है ना, अभी मैंने जो ड्रॉ की है, करंट डायरेक्शन यहीं से स्टार्ट होगा। कंसिडर करंट इज स्टार्टिंग दिस एंड ओनली, बट वो यहाँ से आएगा एंड देन हियर इट विल बी like this and like this and it will leave from this end। अभी ये देखो, ये एंटी क्लॉकवाइज हुआ है, देखो। फिर now you can try with this, all of you getting? So try with this second image, whatever I have drawn, blue color one। So जो टर्न है ना, it is upwards, यहाँ से स्टार्ट करना है from point A। So if you observe from point A that conductor is below the limb, लीम के नीचे है, तो रैप विद, नाउ ऑब्जर्व, अगर आप यहाँ पे करंट देखोगे ना, अगर मैं करंट देखो यहाँ से स्टार्ट हो रहा है, मींस हियर इट इज स्टार्टिंग, इजंट इट? तो ऐसे आ रहा है, ये देखो। सो ऐसे वो मूव हो रहा है, सो दिस इज एंटी क्लॉकवाइज। ये देखो यहाँ पे आप देख सकते हो, व्हाट द थिंग, ये एंटी
Yes, ma'am.
क्लॉकवाइज हुई है। हाँ, दिस वन टर्न इज नाउ एंटी क्लॉकवाइज, तो यहाँ पे आपका थंब डाउनवर्ड में पॉइंट करेगा, ओके। और ये अर्लियर वन जो है यहाँ पे अपवर्ड डायरेक्शन में पॉइंट करेगा। दिस वन इमेज क्लियर टू एवरीवन?
Yes, ma'am.
सो कैन आई इरेज दैट, दिस वन?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So see here if you point your fingers along this coil, so you will find the thumb is pointing upward. That's why flux through the central limb will flow in upward direction. Then it will move like this, and like this. So dotted inside the core, that dotted line, whatever shown, is a direction of flux. And that is dotted means flux, and arrow is a direction, isn't it? So flux through this core will flow in clockwise direction. Got the thing? Any difficulty with this?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So working principle we'll see here. AC voltage you apply on primary side circuit, that which is marked as V1. This is the symbol for voltage source. Circuit is closed one on primary side. That's why AC current will flow through primary winding turns N1. As winding is wound in a clockwise direction, so current also will flow in clockwise direction. So apply right hand thumb rule to find out the direction of magnetic field produced by this I1. Wrap the fingers in the direction of coil. Okay, so you will find I am wrapping the fingers of right hand in the same direction in which the coil is wound. Same will be the direction of current. So whatever is the direction of current, now see here, this is forward, forward here, here also forward, and in this turn also forward. So forward mein fingers wrap karo. So what you can find, thumb is pointing of right hand in upward direction, So through this side limb, left side, flux will flow in upward direction. Then like this. So what is the conclusion? Flux is flowing in clockwise direction through this magnetic material. And that will be alternating because voltage is alternating, current is alternating. So whatever the flux in the core, it is denoted by phi. Okay. So flux in the core also will be alternating. Now see here what is happening. This one image you observe. This one. Consider this is the magnetic core, silicon still. Now here you consider air is there. This side air, this side air. So what's about air? Its relative permeability. All of you have studied in 12th. Relative permeability mu r for air is 1. It is not 0. It is 1. Means some finite. It is very, very less. Relative permeability of the silicon still is very high, in some thousands it is. Okay. And relative permeability for air is 1, which is very, very less. It is not 0. So what's about opposition offered to the flow of flux? Reluctance capital S is equals to L divided by mu 0 mu r A. Okay, so as for air, this relative permeability is very, very less, which is equal to 1. So opposition offered to the flow of flux will be very high compared to silicon steel. Silicon steel relative permeability very high in thousands, in few thousands. Okay, and relative permeability for air is only 1. Means if you compare the opposition, that is capital S reluctance, opposition offered by air and opposition offered by silicon steel. So silicon steel will offer less opposition or air offers less opposition to the flow of flux.
Silicon steel.
Silicon
Silicon.
steel, correct. Silicon steel offers less opposition as its relative permeability is very high. And air will offer very high opposition as its relative permeability is only 1. Okay, it is not 0. If it is 0, then opposition will be infinity, then flux cannot complete its path through air. But relative permeability, it is not 0, it is 1. And that's why, although air offers very high opposition to the flow of flux, some percentage of flux, very less percentage of flux will complete its path through air also. Okay, all of you know that current always prefer minimum opposition path. Same is the thing with magnetic lines of force, that is magnetic flux, isn't it? Same is the thing. It also prefers minimum opposition path. That's why what will happen, maximum percentage of flux, that is 95 to 98% of flux completes its path through core in clockwise direction. And this one flux flowing through core helps in producing the output. That's why flux flowing through core, as it helps in producing the output, this one flux flowing through core is called as useful flux, and it is 95 to 98% of total flux produced by primary winding. What happens with 2 to 5% flux? 2 to 5% flux will complete its path through air like this. See, through air it is completing its path. These are the magnetic lines of force which completes its path through air. And whatever the flux flowing through air, completing its path through air and not through core, this one, it don't help in producing the output. And that's why it is called as leakage flux. Okay, so leakage flux 2 to 5%. Okay, 2 to 5% leakage flux, and 95 to 98% is useful flux, isn't it? Is the total flux. So here I have written, see, total flux is useful flux plus leakage flux. Useful flux completes its path through core, and leakage flux completes its path through air, isn't it? Got the things, everyone, about leakage flux and useful flux? Any difficulty with this? Okay. Now see here, forget about the leakage flux. Right now, we are going to neglect the effect of leakage flux as it is very less, 2 to 5%. So this is the case. Now AC voltage you are going to apply AC across primary winding, N1 number of turns. Current I1 is flowing through N1 number of turns. Voltage is AC, current is AC. So around it produces magnetic field. So that changing magnetic field, maximum flux will flow through core as core offers less opposition because its relative permeability is very high. 2 to 5% flux will complete its path through air. That is very less, and that's why we are going to neglect it. Leakage flux. Consider whatever the flux produced, 100% of it or maximum of it flowing through this core. Now this is the flux direction I have denoted. magnetic lines of force. This one I think all of you have studied in 12th. Take one magnet. It has north pole, it has south pole. Magnetic lines of force, they start from north and they move towards south pole. Through the magnet also they complete the path, isn't it? And while moving from north to south, they always prefer minimum opposition path, isn't it? So this is the magnetic lines of force. Okay, and total number of magnetic lines of force is called as magnetic flux. Magnetic flux is denoted by symbol phi. Unit for it is Weber. Okay, this one all of you have studied. So they move like a stretched rubber band. There is a repulsion between adjacent two lines. This properties all of you know, and easily they can flow through magnetic materials like silicon steel, cast iron. Okay. So magnetic lines of force starts from north pole and they move toward south pole. So this is the magnetic lines of force. Now this is alternating. This one flux is alternating. Now if you observe the primary winding turns N1 and secondary winding turns N2, both are stationary. Core is also stationary. Okay. Transformer, it's a static device. Transformer, it's a static device. None of the part rotates. Windings are stationary. Its magnetic core is also stationary. Now, through this stationary core, alternating magnetic field is flowing. That is the flux. This is alternating flux, changing flux it is. So that is coming in contact with this changing magnetic field or magnetic flux coming in contact with this N2 number of turns. Copper, these are made up of copper. So what will happen as per Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction? Flux is changing, alternating flux coming in contact with stationary copper secondary winding, that is N2 turns. What will happen as per Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction?
EMF induced.
Correct. EMF will get induced. So what is happening? This changing flux coming in contact with N2 number of turns. So what will happen as per Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction?
EMF is induced.
Correct. EMF will get induced in secondary turns and that is marked as E2. Okay, that is marked as E2. Capital E2. We'll soon derive the expression for this E2, 4.44 F phi m N2, and whatever the parameters on right hand side of this equation are all constant. Why they are constant, we'll explain you soon. Okay, and that's why E2 is also constant. You go on changing load on transformer, but value of E2 remains constant. Okay, so as per Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, EMF will get induced in secondary winding, which is marked as E2. Okay, got it up to this? Now, is this changing as E2 get induced here on secondary? E2, is secondary open or closed? See, this one is secondary. Have we connected any load across it? Means lamp or any electrical load. In electrical engineering, load means what? Any equipment or any instrument or any machine which requires electricity for its operation is called as load, means which operates on electricity. Okay, so any electrical load, for example, lamp or any load, is it connected across this secondary or secondary is open here? Is secondary
Open, ma'am.
it's
Open.
open. Okay, it's open circuit. On secondary side, no load is connected, means this is called as transformer on no load. Transformer on no load means no load is connected on secondary, means secondary is open. It's an open circuit is there across secondary. So although EMF E2 get induced consider karo, this one transformer is of specification 110 volt slash 220 volt. Every transformer, it is not open, it is covered with outer metallic body, and on that metallic body you can find one rectangular plate, and on that plate you will find specifications are given. Its kVA rating is given. Whatever you are using transformer in last 6th experiment, it's a 1 kVA transformer, 110 volt slash 220 volt. Right, this is written on the nameplate. So means 110 volt is the voltage you are going to apply on primary. So maximum how much you will get on secondary, 220 volt. Consider you are getting this E2 induced EMF on secondary 220 volt. Okay, so secondary is open, 220 volt get induced in the secondary winding turns. Will current flow through secondary on no load? Secondary is open, so will current flow through secondary?
No, ma'am.
No current will flow because it's open, isn't it? So when the transformer is on no load, means no load is connected across secondary, means secondary is open. So in that case, EMF get induced in secondary. That will be approximately its rated voltage, which is given on nameplate of secondary side. So approximately this E2 will be 220 volt here, but current will not flow through secondary because secondary is open. That's why I can say I2 is 0. If I'm going to mark current flowing through primary as I1, so I2 is the current flowing through secondary, and that will be 0. If no current is flowing through secondary winding, will any power consumption be there on secondary side? No
No,
power,
ma'am.
no power
ma'am.
consumption.
ma'am.
So power consumption on secondary, that is W2, will be 0. V2 I2 cos of phi 2 will be 0. If you remember in 6th experiment, first reading at no load, and there you will find in first reading I2 and W2 is 0. Okay, so this is about the no load condition. Now across the secondary, if you connect one voltmeter here, connect one voltmeter across this two terminal, consider it's a voltmeter. So it will give you some reading, and that will be the value of E2. Consider here it is approximately 220 volt. Got it? As no load is connected on secondary, this induced voltage E2, that is 220 volt, it is called as no load voltage. Clear up to this to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Now this is about the induced EMF E2, isn't it? Now see here, E2 induce हो रहा है अभी secondary में. Now what I'll do, across the secondary I'll connect one lamp. Any load you connect across it. Now once you connect the lamp or any load across secondary, is the circuit closed one on secondary?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, circuit is closed one. EMF get induced in secondary winding 220 volt. Maximum it is, and it remains constant throughout. Why it remains constant? Very soon we'll see it in further topics. So that remains constant. Now as EMF approximately 220 volt get induced in this copper turns and two turns, and circuit is closed one. So will current starts to flow through now secondary winding?
Yes.
Current will
Yes, ma'am.
starts to flow. Okay, so all of you can see here I2. Now as here I have connected single lamp, so whatever the current flowing through this lamp and whatever the current flowing through this winding, will it be same or different?
Same.
It will be same. Okay, so I2, this I2 you can represent IL also, load current. So total load current and current flowing through secondary winding is same. How much voltage get induced in secondary winding? E2. Okay. Now here, so as current is flowing, so will this lamp glow? Yes, will this lamp glow?
No, ma'am.
Yes.
Why
Yes,
not?
ma'am.
It will glow. Okay, lamp will glow. Means what is the transformer is doing as lamp glow? What does it mean? What transformer does? Input आपने कौन से साइड में अप्लाई किया था? Primary side. What if you observe the circuit? Primary and secondary windings are not physically connected to each other. They are magnetically coupled with each other, isn't it? Okay. So still, what is happening here? You have applied electrical energy to primary side. Transformer, it transfers electrical energy from primary to secondary. It works on Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. It is a static device. So transformer, it transmits electrical energy from primary to secondary with the change in voltage and current. But what's about frequency? It remains constant. Input and output frequency is constant. Okay. So this is about the transformer working principle. See here, AC voltage you apply, AC current will flow through primary winding. It produces changing, that is alternating magnetic field. This alternating magnetic field comes in contact with N2 number of turns. Here. So as per Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, EMF will get induced in secondary winding. If the circuit is closed one, then current starts to flow through secondary winding and power will be delivered to load. Energy will be transferred to load. Electrical power, electrical energy means transformer. It's a static device. It transmits electrical energy from primary to secondary. It works on Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. Okay, now we'll learn about the kVA rating of a transformer. There you will find V1 kVA rating into 10 to the power 3 is equals to V1 I1 is equals to V2 I2. Okay, here I have written it. Why rating of transformer is given in kVA, that also we'll see soon. See here, this one formula. kVA rating is equal to into 10 to the power 3 is V1 I1 is equals to V2 I2. So if you observe here V2 by V1, if you take the ratio V2 by V1, you will find I1 by I2. If you observe it, V1 and I1 are inversely proportional to each other and V2 and I2 are inversely proportional to each other. Means if you are going to step up the voltage on secondary 110 volts / 220, so voltage you are going to step up on secondary. So what will happen with current?
Should be decreased.
Correct. It will be less compared to I1. And that's why if you remember in after generating station, step up transformer is there. Why step up transformer after generation? Suppose generating voltage is 22 kV. Then step up transformer get used. Consider it is going to step it up to 220 kV. So voltage you are going to step up from 22 kV to 220 kV. Then current on secondary will be less, and then I2 square R, that is the transmission losses, will be less because current is less. And that's why voltage after generating station, step up transformer is there. Voltage gets step up, then current will be less, then add this higher voltage, that is with less current, less transmission losses, electricity get transferred over larger distance. Okay, and then we don't want that 220 kV, we want very less, then there is a need to use the step down transformer, isn't it? So step up transformer and step down transformer. Clear? Transformer applications. Okay. So here, this is about the working principle. Now, if you observe, I told you this alternating voltage, it comes in contact with N2 number of turns, E2 get induced, isn't it? Here, this flux comes in contact with N2 number of turns, E2 get induced here. Now, is this changing flux coming in contact with N1 number of turns? Because this flux is completing its path through core. So is it coming in contact with N1 number of turns?
No, ma'am.
Why not? See, ये लिंब में से फ्लक्स फ्लो हो रहा है और ये लिंब पे प्राइमरी वाइंडिंग वाउंड है, तो ये जो चेंजिंग फ्लक्स कोर में से क्लॉकवाइज डायरेक्शन में पाथ कंप्लीट कर रहा है, ये देखो, ये changing flux core through core, it is flowing in clockwise direction. Is it coming in n1 number of turns, in contact with n1 number of turns?
Yes, ma'am.
It is coming in contact with n1 number of turns also. So what will happen as per Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction? EMF will get induced in primary winding turns also, and that is marked as E1. We'll derive the formula for E1 4.44 F, phi m and 1. And all parameters on right hand side are constant. So E1 also remains throughout constant. So E2 get induced in N2 number of turns as per Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, and E1 get induced in N1 number of turns as per same law, Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. Now, can you tell me which one is self-induced EMF and which one is mutually induced EMF? What's about E2, self or mutually induced EMF?
Mutual.
Mutually.
Correct, mutually
Mutual.
induced EMF. In 12th, all of you have learned, because this flux is produced by N1 I1 turns by primary, and E2 get induced in another turn, that is secondary. That's why E2 is mutually induced EMF. And what's about E1?
Self-induced.
Self-induced.
Self-induced EMF, because flux phi 1 is produced by N1 I1 turn, and this flux phi 1 is coming in contact with the same turns N1. That's why whatever the E1 get induced in primary winding, it is called as self-induced EMF. Okay, so see here I have written this flux voltage current I1, this changing flux through core, it comes in contact with N2 number of turns, E2 get induced, and it comes in contact with N1 number of turns, E1 get induced. So E2 and E1 mutually induced EMF and self-induced EMF. Clear up to this to everyone?